We're getting into a very, very powerful topic, one that we hope never happens, but life happens. And that is you're breaking up with your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and there's pets involved. And here to help us with that transition for all of you is the Reverend Khalil Sakakini. And you're out of Boston, right?
Exactly so.
All right. All right. So, okay, we know it's not a match made in heaven. Sometimes people say, sometimes we date people or with somebody and they represent a chapter in our life, not the whole book.
Exactly.
But every pet I've had is a whole book. It's a bestseller. My pet is a bestseller. I have a dog, Kona, who finishes my sentences, I believe. We are so bonded. If it was you or the dog, it would be Kona.
Woof.
Woof. So help us, because it's not healthy to be in a relationship that isn't working. So what can people do to help the pets with this transition? Should there be some organized visits? What's some tips or strategies?
I know it's a flawed analogy. I know,
Yeah.
but it's the same comparison I would make if you had kids.
Well, a lot of people think pets are part of the family. Come on.
Then absolutely part of the family. The difference being perhaps you can talk English to a child and say, look, mom and dad, so love each other, but this, that, and the other thing. I mean, if you really are a gifted animal communicator, well, you could say that and work with that with your pet.
Kona knows many words. I can't even say walk. I can't even say W anymore.
But it's not even the words. It's almost the energetic communication. I give a short course in animal communication.
Oh, nice.
It's less to do with the language that we speak and more to do with the connection that we make energetically to our hearts. But anyway, to answer your question, I think a lot of conditions play into this art, and because in one partner wealthier than the other, do they have a looser jaw? But do they love the pet as much? Do they have the financial wherewithal to take care of the animal? Is the attachment the same? So how old is the dog? What were the conditions like? So all things being equal, which they never are, of course.
No.
Never. In this kind of case, the best thing to do is to maintain the routine as it always has been. You feed the pet at the same time. You take the same kinds of walks. You let the pet see your emotions, but you don't overflow the sadness or the anguish. You try to maintain, as you said earlier, quite brilliantly, they love routine and maintain the routine as much as possible. That's assuming that the separation is not acrimonious. If there's hatred and bitterness in it, well, that upsets everything completely. And the process for dealing with that is somewhat beyond my ability, because that's an emotional thing between them. And I fear for the dog or the cat or the rabbit, because they end up having acute and sometimes chronic anxiety, fear, and diseases as a result.
Well, I want to jump in here too, because I'm very happy to hear people are recognizing how bonded people are. So say it's domestic violence, and the woman maybe, or the man, it depends, who's
or
been
two men
abused,
or two women,
or whatever. They leave, but there are now getting to be more domestic shelters that are also allowing you to bring your pets.
That's right.
Because they could be quite harmed, right?
Exactly. They can be quite harmed, and they often are. And any separation, any kind of separation, they will feel it. Now, the extent to which they feel it, as you said earlier, depends upon the nature of the relationship, the separation, the age of the dog, or the person's ability to care for the dog, so on. But bottom line, pets mourn. They grieve the loss of other companions, whether they be canine or human. Mm-hmm. The absence of a routine, the absence of a half of a love makes them sad and can make them withdrawn and dejected. And the real problem is it can set them up and make them susceptible to diseases.
Yes, because if you're stressed out, your immune system's getting pummeled, right?
That applies to the people as well as the pets. So it's an unhealthy and horrific situation, best to be avoided. And if it can't be avoided, take the steps necessary to minimize the pain and the hurt.
Now, some people, they're planners. Some people have Prenuptials. I think you call it a special word, don't you, for pets involved? What do you call it? Do you know what I'm talking about? I think you call it puptuals, don't you?
Oh, puptual, yeah. Oh, petual.
Petuals. So is it in this time and age, should we have a prenup with our pup?
I think it's a good idea, except I don't know how it stands up legally. In
Okay.
other words, a friend of mine who I think that he had something similar to that, but he gave underline his partner this beautiful dog, a golden retriever. And when the times came to split, though they had their, I don't know what they called it. It was an agreement. Let's just call it an agreement. They had this agreement between them, but it was his gift to her. And it was very clear in what he said to her. This is a dog for you. I love you, blah, blah. So it was her dog. So it overrode in the eyes of the law whatever agreement the two of them had. They would have could have fought it, I'm sure, but yeah, it's a good idea to have, but it's not ironclad.
Okay. Yeah, and I know you touched upon it. I'm no legal beagle. You're not a legal beagle.
But I have a beagle.
Oh, yes. What's your dog's name?
Her name is Stellan, as in Stellina.
Oh, Stellina. Oh,
Beagles
nice.
are an amazing. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I had a beagle growing up, but not as fancy as a name, Reverend.
Eagle
Our
Beagle
dog's
went
name
out
was-
to celebrate.
My dog's name was Crackers.
I love crackers. I feed beagle crackers.
All right. So I'm glad you have a beautiful four-legger with you.
Yeah.
So we're not legal beagles. You touched upon right now in many states, most of the states, pets are still considered property. We don't need to dive into the legal part, but you're dealing into the emotional part. I mean, is meditation good? Is there some things you can do in a quiet, present moment that your pet can join you in that kind of helps you both center?
I think yes, and yes. The key thing for me in the work I do with people, I call it to find a stillness practice and to lower your energy level and lower your gaze. When you're wound up, when you're excited, oh, how are you? I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. This stresses the animal up because it's too much information. It overloads their circuits.
Yes.
We need, in working with our animals in communication, of any kind of animal communication, lower our gaze,
Good.
lower our energy profile, stop the chatter in our heads, and make that connection through the stillness with the animal. That alone is profoundly reassuring.
I like that.
Whatever you say after that, I love you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Things will be fine.
I like your pace. And jokingly, I have a big orange tabby named Casey. He's my BFF, best feline friend.
Right.
And Casey lives in the me now. He doesn't fret about the past. He doesn't fret about the future. Our pets live in the present lane, right? We could actually take a lesson from that.
They do, but as a caveat, they do have memory.
Yes.
So if you abuse an animal, and that cat or dog will remember you.
Yes.
So there is some sense that they do reflect on the past. But yes, they're very much in the moment, and they're alive in the moment, and they don't have any concept of death, mortality, sickness, disease, and then frees them to be who they are.
Well, we're wrapping up. I want people to know how to find you.
Yeah.
And your name has more vowels than Wheel of Fortune. It's Reverend Khalil Sakakini. But I want to keep saying Saka to me because I'm so old like that.
I will. I've heard that.
So how do people find you? Because people need help.
I think they do. And as I said earlier, our therapy model, our medical model isn't set up for sadness or grief. It's set up for sickness and the need to fix something. So reach out to us on our website, Animal Talks Inc. That's
INC. Animal Talks.
Animal Talks plural Inc. AnimalTalksInc.com.
We got it.
And there's resources. It's a lovely site, if you don't mind me saying so. With plenty of resources and ways in which you can connect with us. We have a monthly grief group, as well as one-on-one private pet loss and grief therapy sessions, counseling sessions.
Well, Thank you. I was honored to have you as a guest.
My
You
pleasure.
survived me with even my bad puns.
I'll come back anytime you want. I love
Ah, that's a
you've
deal.
been
That's a
great.
deal.
You've been great.